Hi guys, I've got the radiator hoses back on the 13B, and the reason for that is I want to do a coolant pressure test on the block before I take it apart. I'm going to go and tighten these things on. The reason I want to do that is I had a problem, it's just a small minor annoyance. After I put the engine in the car the first time, with a leak. There was a coolant leak that would show up only after the car was turned off, and the coolant system had built up pressure. So every time I turned the car off, there'd be a small, just a tiny puddle of coolant on the ground. Now, I always monitored this, and it was never an issue. Even after doing autocross runs or anything, or even track runs, there's only a little bit of coolant that I'd ever lose, but it wasn't something that's been bugging me, and I figured, well, while the thing is out of the car, this is a good time to do the test. Why didn't I do this while it was in the car, you might ask? Well, the problem is, I think the coolant, from what I could tell when I tried checking for where the leak was coming underneath this, from underneath this intake port. And unfortunately, I couldn't see a thing in the under the car because the header was blocking the way. So instead, I decided to pull the engine, do it well after I pulled the engine out. Now, how am I going to do this, you might ask? I thought about just hooking up the radiator again and doing it that way, but I don't have the adapter I need for the style of radiator cap I use. Now, this is a snap-on pressure tester. It's just a hand pump thing, and we have removed the radiator cap adapter. I know you can get different adapters. I just didn't have one handy, and I need to get this done. And this one actually was leaking anyway. It was getting kind of tired, so my buddy James loaned this to me and told me to go ahead and adapt it for my purposes. So that's what I'm going to do. So what we've done, James has done this for me. It's not very difficult. I've taken a cap, taken plumbing stuff I got from Ace Hardware. This is just a little end cap into a little fitting, plumbing fitting here that fits into my hose here. And in the top of it, we've got an NPT, an 1/8 inch NTP hose barb fitted and Loctite it in, and that's not going to leak. So it looks like it's pretty tight. I do not believe this is going to leak. So I'm just going to stick this thing into the hose, and I'm going to tighten that down. So we're going to hook up the pressure tester to this end of the hose. And we're only doing about 15 pounds of pressure, so it shouldn't be a problem with anything leaking. We'll see. And then I got another one just like that one. Go ahead and crank that down so it's tight. And I'm going to go ahead and jam that sucker into my bottom radiator hose. This one's a little tight, but we'll get it in. Okay, that should do it. And then tighten this down. So it's tight on here, it's tight on there, the water pump, the water neck. Okay, looks like we're good. So I've got everything capped off, so it's completely airtight, hopefully, with any luck. So what I'll do next is I'm just going to stick this hose onto this hose barb. Again, 15 pounds of pressure should not blow this off. Otherwise, if it was a lot of pressure, you'd want to get yourself a little clamp for that. We don't need that. And then what I'm going to do, I have a bottle of soap. Just a little spray bottle here that I'm going to spray on the block here, just to be sure. You want to get some foam on there so you can get the soap to bubble if there are any leaks. Let's see what happens. So now I'm getting a little pressure in the block. Just want to get it up to 15. In fact, I don't hear air hissing is a good sign. So okay, I've got it up to 15 now. I'm just going to let that hang. Maybe set it right here. I'm going to probably zip tie that or something in a minute, but for now, okay, I hear something. Yep. Oh ho. I see it. Okay. Right under here, I see some bubbling, which means we got a leak in the port, which is a bummer. Which means I'm going to have to try to address that when we pull this thing apart. Hopefully, it's not going to be too much of a pig to deal with. Yeah, we'll have to see what to do. Anyway, it's bubbling right here, which means it's leaking right at this screw. These are screwed in, and then they're like coated with an epoxy, like Defcon, to seal them all up. So it looks like I have to do a little more work on that. Let me check a few of the other places on the block, be sure things are good. I don't see any other leaks. Okay, well, so that's going to be the next thing I'll address. Obviously, there's nothing much I can do about it now. So after I pull this apart, I'm going to give this thing some attention, see if I can't figure out how to get this thing to not leak. Anyway, we'll continue on.